law is very clear. It says that you can take a lump sum, provided that the balance in your account can procure for you a program withdrawal or an annuity that will give you at least 50% of your last income. So let's look at the figures here. So let's say you've got 20 million in your retirement savings account and your last salary was 150,000.
Okay.
So the law says, let's assume that you will live for 20 years. Okay? 50% of your last salary, remember it's 150, is 75,000.
Yes.
So we would set aside an amount that can give you 75,000 for 20 years. And then whatever is left, you can take it as a lump sum.
Okay. And that's law. That's
what the law says.
How long does it take for your pension fund administrator to give you that money?
Now, and there are certain issues. In the private sector, it can take the next payday.
Like this?
The next payday,
Private
that is
sector.
by the time you retire and you put in all your documents. The next payday, there's no break in transmission.
Yes.
Now, here's the challenge in the public sector. Again,
I've heard stories.
Challenges in
not private sector.
Not in the
Public-
private sector,
it's
in the
public.
public sector. So in government, here's the challenge. In 2005, when the law started, the implementation of the pension scheme started, the first thing the government had to do was to recognize the pension accrued liabilities. Another big word, the accrued rights of people. So for example, you started working in 1990. You worked for 15 years before the contributory pension scheme started, or 14 years, up to 2004.
Yes.
Now, there's a new scheme. You're owed 14 years, uncle. So government says, we calculated it and said this amount X is what the government owes you for those 14 years. Now, but the government didn't encash it. So it's a written IOU. I owe you X million. Now, the challenge is this. The truth is that in implementing the law so far, the government has many times failed to credit you with the IOU, to encash the IOU. So what happens now is that people retire. The money from 2004 to 2019 is in their accounts. But that money does not include their prior service. The money for the prior service needs to come from the government. If the government doesn't bring the money into that account, the pension fund administrator cannot calculate, because it's not the full money that is in. So now there is this process of waiting for and sometimes, from my recent experience, some of these monies have been outstanding for 2 years. Where the government
recently it's about 11 months.
Yeah. So sometimes it's 15 months, 18 months, 11 months.
It takes a while.
Yeah. It takes a while. And it all is going back to what? The real issues about how we run our government, how the fiscal prudence in our society, our priorities. Because you see, we spend money on many things, but we do not prioritize people's retirement benefits. And if we continue to run our society along those parameters, it is no surprise that people who are retiring are waiting for months, and sometimes more than a year, to be able to access their benefits.
And so I have another question to ask, just to follow up to what he said. So you've given me the lump sum. I have, in quote, plenty years, or I thought I had plenty years, and in Yoruba terms, they say, Odake, I go quiet.
Yes.
What happens to that money in the account, and how soon do I get it to my beneficiary or my next of kin?
That's in the event of your demise.
Yes.
So what happens is this, that if you choose, there are two options for withdrawal. You can either take a programmed withdrawal.
Explain the program withdrawal. I also explain the annuity.
Yeah, you can take a programmed withdrawal. So let me focus on that, which is administered by your pension fund administrator. Yeah. At the point of your demise, the money is in your account. In fact, if you take a programmed withdrawal, you will still be getting an account statement the same way you are getting a statement while you are an active employee. So you will be seeing the balance on your account.
Which is also reinvested.
Which is continuously invested anyway.
Any day.
Yeah, so it is there, and it is so money is taken every month. You are being paid a pension, and then the balance on the money is continuously invested. So you'll be seeing your statements. Now, in the event of your demise, your next of kin should approach the pension fund administrator with the usual documents evidencing your death. And no, it's not a. It's so. This is why I said retirement planning is also about financial literacy. One of the anchors of good financial literacy is preparing for your death. So, do people have wills in Nigeria? A simple will can be. And we see once we say will, people start
think
shaking
they
their
want to
head.
die.
They say they don't want. I reject it. But remember what I said. There are things that are certain. You will work, you will die, you will retire.
Yes.
Certain. So prepare for it. So if you don't have a will and you die intestate, which means die without a will, it means that you have to get a letter of administration. That takes a bit of a process, but it shouldn't take that long. So long as there's no contest to your estate, and if there isn't, you get the letter of administration, you bring the will, whatever it is, and you submit it, and the money will be disbursed to your named beneficiaries. Pronto.
What if my next of kin is under 18?
So your next of kin under 18 is not legally allowed to contract. So you have to have a legal representative of that. So it has to be somebody.
So my next of kin for my retirement account cannot be someone under 18. Is that what you're saying?
The person will have no legal ability to perform the role. You get the point. So, and these are things that people need.
Because I don't think people know that. People just put their children's names.
You can put but if you have it, your child will have a legal guardian upon your demise, isn't it? So it is that person that will come.
More paperwork.
Well, not really.
Not really.
Not really. It's quite straightforward.
Nick, don't make it look like it's paperwork.
I've heard stories, so
most times when you hear stories, ask them questions.
Yes.
What have you done?
What have you done?
What were you told?
Yes.
What point are you?
Yes. Yeah.
If you dig deep, you discover that the person hasn't done what is expected.
Yeah. If there was something we could all do better, clearly, is that the pension industry, the operators, the regulators, our entire society needs to invest much more in financial literacy.